Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and I just needed to take some time off from yesterday's loss. Obviously, you guys saw my halftime recap. Not much changed. It was very frustrating. I think it was a case in which Cincinnati just really wasn't ready to play in that game. Honestly, that's just being real. I think that we were outplayed in all three phases of the game. We were not aggressive. It's something to easily say that was our worst display of football this entire season. That being said, we have gone from a team that was 4-1 to 4-3. This is a week that we have to rebound. There's no excuse. We have to come back. This is a week where we're taking on a team that you can't really sleep on in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a really good offense. Our defense is really trash. They can take advantage of us. We can take advantage of them as well. And that's what we need to do. We're returning home. This is a stretch where we'll have a string of home games. We'll be taking on Tampa. We'll also have a little bit of a bye week situation. We also have to play the Saints. This is going to be a key part of the schedule where we have to come out and be aggressive because we wake up, we went to sleep Saturday as the AFC North champs, and we wake up on Monday as the second place team after Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, believe it or not, is now making a run to be number one in the division after they were just tied with the Browns several weeks ago. But this is the thing. A lot of people, me included, have kind of called for Terrell Austin's head. That's not going to happen. Here I kind of like to try to be a little bit more realistic. Even though we think Austin should be gone or something should happen there, it's probably not going to happen. I think one thing that should happen is that, and I don't know how Marvin Lewis runs things from the outside looking in, just from a fan perspective, it seems like he kind of lets his coordinators do their own thing. I think that he should be calling the defense. I don't know if that's possible, but hopefully that will happen. Outside of that, the tackling is horrible. I really can't name anything. And I was talking to Nardo earlier. There's not one specific thing that I can name that Terrell Austin has done well on defense. He doesn't get to the passer. His defense doesn't put any pressure on the offense. It was supposed to be his bread and butter was supposed to be forcing turnovers. We haven't seen any of those. Guys are starting to lose them. You're just not really seeing anything. It's not a bend but don't break. It's broken. But I don't know. I just don't understand how you have all of this talent and you just don't live up to the hype. I'm not sure. But even though we had all of those concerns on defense, offense was an issue. We're going into a game, and I'm not sure if the numbers were skewed just because I was actually talking to one of my coworkers today. When you talk about sometimes the numbers are skewed, since the Chiefs' offense is that good, he was saying that makes other teams more risky and it makes them throw more or try to go for big plays against their offense. So maybe those numbers were skewed, but you can't really skew 32nd in the league, man. And it's just ridiculous that this team was only able to put up 10 points. And honestly, I tried to think through it and say, what is this offense missing, right? And when I rewatch some of the games, the biggest thing that sticks out to me is that we're missing Tyler Eifert. And at the time, it seemed like when we lost Tyler Eifert during the Atlanta game, it was like, okay, we'll still be okay because we had the emergence of Boyd and we had Ross. I still think that us not having Tyler Eifert is a major blow to this offense. And a lot of people talk about John Ross. I'm not a John Ross truther, but I'm not a downer either. But one thing that I don't agree with is that a lot of people are like, oh, well, you have to have John Ross on the field because people respect him. I understand he has speed and things of that nature, but I think when it comes to John Ross versus Tyler Eifert, I think defenses respected Tyler Eifert a lot more. And you can see that with AJ because we had John Ross on the field yesterday and it did nothing to take the blanket off of AJ Green. And I think that that's what our biggest issue is. We're still at a point, and it's very frustrating. We're still at a point where we cannot create a respectable threat across from AJ Green. And we can have all of these guys that we ourselves and our fan base will pump up, but until we actually see defenses react to these guys, I don't really want to hear it, bro. Like, they're not playing us like that. John Ross was on the field yesterday. I'm not saying that they were using John Ross the correct way. I'm just saying that the opposing defense didn't even care whether he was on the field or not. They didn't care that some of these other guys are on the field. Is that fair? I mean, what has John Ross proven to anybody for them to respect him like that? I'm not faulting them for not doing anything against him. You look at a guy like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was proven left and right yesterday why our defense should pay attention to him. We didn't pay that much attention to Sammy Watkins. Then he goes off and gets a deep pass, and things just happen for a reason. And to me, it's almost to the point where I'm frustrated, to the point where I feel like we're in a situation yet again where it's just AJ Green is our entire offense. And AJ Green is my favorite player, but it is unfair to this guy for us to put the entire burden of our offense simply on him. The other thing, if you guys have been following me for a while, I don't know if you guys are new or not, I was not the biggest Laser guy. I'm not trying to go on like any kind of negative thing. Laser has had some good calls this season. I never said, if you go back to when we actually promoted him, I never said that he was a bad coordinator. I said that he always gives up on the run. That's why he was fired from Miami. I live in Florida, so I'm friends with guys that are Buccaneers fans, Dolphins fans. I live down here with them. I remember Bill Lazor from when he was down here in Miami, and that was the biggest thing for them, was the fact that the guy would give up on the run. He had a quite capable running back in Miami in Lamar Miller, and there were times where Lamar Miller just didn't even get the ball. He would have these amazing games, and then he would disappear. It's the same thing with Joe Mixon, and when you look at it, I'm not sure if it was a game flow issue last game or what it was, but the fact that you cannot give your second best option in this offense the ball enough is just not good. I don't know. Like, to me, the defense was what the defense was, right? I'm not going to get too upset with them because I didn't expect the defense to hold these guys to 20 points or anything like that. But the offense gave them nothing outside of AJ Green and CJ Uzoma. It just was nothing. So I'm just going to be real about it. The offense has to improve. I don't think that this is a team. Once again, I don't think John Ross is a guy that you can put all your eggs in one basket on. And not to even just down Ross, I don't think you can put them all in on guys like Josh Malone, guys like Cody Cord. They're just not going to get it done. Tyler Boyd can get it done, but, he's only one guy, okay? He's only one guy. So I think me personally, I was thinking that, and you guys might consider this a hot take or whatever, I honestly think that the Bengals need to look into potentially signing Des Bryant. And if you want to know why, I feel like it's because if you automatically put Des Bryant on the field, that is someone that the defense is going to look at and say, hey, we cannot double team AJ with a safety over the top every single play because we got a guy over here that's quite capable in Des Bryant that can do things. That can open up Tyler Boyd, that can open up other guys in the offense. So I thought, like, initially, I thought, going into training camp and the way that things went, the wide receiver group looked like it was the strongest part of this team. And Tyler Boyd has continued to spill over into the regular season. But John Ross has been hampered with injuries. It's been a mix of them not being able to use him, defense is not respecting him. Cody Core dropping passes, Josh Malone disappearing after having a pretty big camp. So I don't know. It's just they aren't dependable enough. I don't think that these guys are dependable enough. I think if you bring in a guy like Des Bryant, who clearly doesn't have a market of much right now, you give him the bye week, I think the guy can make an impact. I'm not asking for him to come in and catch 10 to 15 touchdowns. Just have a guy that other teams respect. I'm going to go through some of the comments here. I believe if our defense steps up, our offense is okay. I think our defense is what it is, right? We're living in an era where we're starting to see the offenses, and we've seen this for the last couple of years, the offenses are taking over. Let's just be real. I don't know who played football or not, but I actually played cornerback in high school. So I played football in high school, and some of the rules that these corners just have to deal with, I tend to feel for them. Like, you can't touch. First of all, as a corner, you're in a back pedal automatically. You're already at a disadvantage. You're running backwards against someone who's running at you, with their distinct advantage of running straight at you, okay? Not only that, in the NFL, you can't touch them within the first 5 yards. In high school, that's what you used to be able to do to try to even the odds. You used to try to jam guys. You used to try to be able to use that to your advantage. Now you can't even sneeze on these guys. And not only that, like, there's a specific way that you have to hit them. So we're looking at defenses all over the NFL, not just the Bengals, but you even look at Jacksonville, who was the #1 defense last year, and they're surrendering 20 to 30 points because every play is a penalty. So I look at the defense, and although I'm not really inclined to say that there's much there, I think that they're definitely underplaying. But I think they need to do more. Like, the offense needs to do more to support them. And, the performance that we had last night, to only score 10 points in this era with these rules is just completely unacceptable. It's just not acceptable. And like I said, going back to Bill Lazor, these were certain things that people in Miami were kind of concerned about. So they need to figure out what they are on offense. And with them not having Tyler Eifert, you can definitely tell that the offense isn't as fluid. This was an offense that was on fire, that was creative, and they just need to find their way back to that. Drake Kirkpatrick, I came out with a video last week about Drake Kirkpatrick, not hating on him and stuff like that. So this is my thing with Drake Kirkpatrick. Anybody that knows me, that follows me, and I got a lot of comments. I just wanted to at least lend Dre some support. I've watched Dre since he got drafted until obviously now. I was not necessarily saying in that video that Dre is amazing or that he doesn't make mistakes or that he's just this flawless shutdown cornerback. I'm just saying Dre this year compared to Dre in previous years where the bar was set extremely low has played better. Now, he still obviously got stiff-armed in almost every game. He's not really a physical corner. He's a guy that's really wiry. He's tall and lanky. He's never really been a strength guy. It's embarrassing, but at the end of the day, cornerbacks are not safeties or linebackers. Honestly, most cornerbacks, believe it or not, would get run over by running backs. I played corner. We were never the guys that really tried to go in and tackle people or, the most things that we would have to do is we try to set the edge. But if you have a guy that's coming at you like a Joe Mixon or a Le'Veon Bell, 9 times out of 10, you're not stopping that guy. But And I mean, you even look at some of the best corners in the league, right? You look at history and you look at Dion. Dion never liked tackling people. I'm not saying Drake Kirkpatrick is Dion by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm saying is that Drake Kirkpatrick is just simply better than he was last year. Does that mean that he's an elite corner? No. Does that mean that I think that he's better than William Jackson III? Personally, no. But the numbers say so far this season, William Jackson III hasn't been himself. The numbers were saying that, through all of these first couple of games, that Dre has just been the best corner on the team. And when have we been able to say that? That's never really been something that we've ever been able to say ever. I was a guy when Darqueze Dennard was drafted. I wanted Drake Kirkpatrick bench for him. I campaigned for Darqueze Dennard. So I just want to be fair to not only guys that I've criticized, but guys who haven't played as bad and kind of get a bad rap sheet. I mean, I've done it. I've done the same with Andy Dalton. I've done the same with Nick Vigil, all of these guys. If I'm wrong about somebody, then I'm just going to say what it is. I got to give credit where credit is due. Now, obviously, our whole entire defense did not play good last night. So I'm not sure if that still applies. But another player that I've been big on is Burfict. And Burfict just did not play with the play that we needed from him last night. Obviously, he missed a lot of tackles. He really didn't have a good game. The defense was sporadic all over the field. It just wasn't even just him. It was everybody. Honestly, let's just be real. It's everybody. But certain things that the Bengals should look into, I don't know if you guys want me to talk about what the Bengals should look into or what they'll actually do. But when you talk about trades and you talking about making impact moves to save this season, I saw someone talk about Patrick Peterson. The Bengals clearly have an issue right now at the cornerback position just due to injuries. And they could really use a guy like Patrick Peterson. They actually have about $12 million in salary cap space. They could make it work, but the realistic Bengals fan in me just knows that they're not going to do it. But if you were, Mike Brown, if you're listening, if you're thinking of a move that could, take this team to the next level instead of it being a whole, and I was talking to my cousin earlier, and he said the perfect thing. The Bengals, what they do is when they start to struggle and have issues, instead of actually improving or going for it during the season, they just wait until next year. This can't be a situation where we do that. If you want to reach to this fan base, if you want us to support this team, if you want us to purchase tickets and gear, you have to show them that, you care. Now, the diehards, we're always going to be here. But for those guys that are casual Bengals fans, you're going to have to prove to them that this team is not the same as it's been in previous years. That means going after guys like Patrick Peterson. You look at the Cowboys this year, right? Cowboys just went and traded for Amari Cooper, right? Amari Cooper has struggled, but it's Amari Cooper. They had a need. They went and got him. They did what they needed to do to stay relevant. The Cowboys just lost a game yesterday where I believe they just went to 3-4 on the season. That was a move to save their season. Those are the type of moves that you have to make. Now, I say that to say this. I have complete faith in this front office. I have complete faith within Duke Tobin. I have complete faith in Katie Blackburn, that they will recognize that they need to do something. I'm hoping that they surprise us and do something. They changed a lot of their ways this offseason and they made moves, but they have to do what needs to be done in order for this team to keep going if they can't turn it around. So with that being said, I think you need to look on the offensive line. I think the defense is just, I don't know if it's one particular player that can fix this defense. I just really don't know what that player could be. I think Patrick Peterson would have a huge impact on this defense. I don't know if he would be the savior for it. And then you still have William Jackson III. You still have Dre. I don't know how you could fit all of those guys on the field at one time. Garyon Conley, though, is a guy that you could possibly bring in. And with Denard possibly walking next year, he could be a guy that you can bring in to replace him because they're going to need another corner next year. Jack Del Rio. A lot of people are already calling for head coaches. I think it's too early for that. I'm gonna pump the brakes on that just because I think that the Bengals can still rebound. Even though we're 4-3 now, they win the next game 5-3. I still had us winning. I think 9. I think I had us going 9-7 or 10-6. I think that's still possible. So no need for us to feel like we need to go into a head coaching position or a new direction in that area, but we'll have to make adjustments, man. I mean, it just really is frustrating being a fan and seeing certain things transpire. I should be a coach. I wish, man. Honestly, so I've always wanted to be in like a front office. It's always been like my lifetime kind of goal. But the way that I would probably go about trying to actually get into that, I actually don't feel like I could be an NFL coach, just to be real with you. I played the game, but I haven't even coached at like a high school level or any kind of level. So I definitely couldn't coach at an NFL level. And I'm definitely confident. And even though Marvin Lewis has had some lapses here and there, I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good coach. I mean, a lot of people support him. His time management skills might not be the best. But I mean, when you're doing something for that long, you should be a good coach. But the way that I would have wanted to get in is I kind of work in big data and analytics during the daytime, and that's how I put food on the table. But I usually work with business rules, and one thing that I would want to switch to is applying that to sports. So I would kind of want to do like the Sashi Brown thing where he kind of became the GM just from the analytical standpoint. But I mean, hey, that's neither here nor there. I do respect Duke Tobin. I think that he's basically our GM. Hopefully he decides to do what it takes or swing for the fence to try to bring in somebody that'll make a big difference here. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah, Andrew. They definitely have some scouting positions. If you actually look on the website, they have a lot of guys that start off there. They start in the scouting department. I think they kind of work their way up, and I think we have a pretty good scouting staff, to be honest with you. But again, I think the struggles are mainly scheme related. That's what it is. Bring back Q, more of the same. I mean, we'll see, man. In order for Hugh to come back, of course, we would all take Hugh. I just think that he actually needs to get fired for us to even entertain that. Thoughts on Michael Johnson? I think Michael Johnson has played pretty solid this season. He's done what we really needed him to do, which is try to stop the run and try to make some plays. Now, he's not always in the right area, but, I mean, he hasn't done enough for me to be bad in my eyes. I think Boomer would be a great addition to some kind of front office role or executive role. Michael Johnson. So this is the thing. When you ask me about Michael Johnson, are you asking me about a guy that just needs to be a rotational player? Because I think that's what he does. I also don't feel like he's been really playing that much this season. I feel like Sam Hubbard I've seen on the field more than him. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. What college offensive linemen would be top players for the Bengals to go after? What do you think of the O-line compared to last year? To be honest with you, I do like the draft. But it's way too early for me to be into my draft mode, me personally. Usually what I do just to make it easier on myself is I kind of wait until the guys actually declare, And then that's when I start to go to the film and I start to do my research. So until then, I can't really get into it because I watch a little bit of Ohio State, but I'd be lying to say that I really am a huge college football guy. I usually wait until the highlights and then I break down film and go from there and make my evaluations based off of that. But me personally, just with my limited knowledge of college football, I would probably say like whenever you're looking or scouting for alignment, you probably want to start in the SEC just because it's the place that probably has the most athletic defensive linemen. But I also know like some of the Big Ten offensive linemen are some of the strongest. So probably somebody from there. I feel like our linebackers are trash except for Burfict. That is very true, my friend. Outside of probably Preston Brown, like everybody else is trash. I always felt like they've been putting band-aids on the linebacker position for years, and they just need to go out and draft one. Like, bro, they just need to go and get another linebacker. And that's also why I feel like some people talk about let's cut Burfict. Like, bro, do you realize what would happen if we did that? Like, look at the Carolina game. Like Christian McCaffrey ran for 180 yards on those. What do you think is going to happen if you get rid of Burfict? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I understand that Burfict is a player that you might be frustrated with and things of that nature, but that should never possess you to be like, hey, let's just cut our best linebacker and have straight trash on the field and get ran on for 200 plus yards every game. That makes no sense. Um, Oh, that's what's up, Andrew. Cool to hear that you're a college scout all year round. Yeah, the Bengals definitely sucked against the Chiefs. Linemen win championships. That's one thing I will say. Everybody knows that the game is won within the trenches. You got to be good there. You got to be good there. Sometimes it looks like Andy only looks for AJ in big games. At halftime, every receiving yard we had against the Chiefs, besides for one, went to AJ. He didn't even look for Boyd or anyone else. Again, I don't know if that was scheme related or what. Um, but I mean, AJ is his number one receiver. But I agree with you. The ball has to be passed around. I don't know if on that pick six that he threw yesterday, if that was supposed to go to Tyler Boyd or somebody else. I'm not sure. Josh Malone spoke on him earlier. I don't know. They said that he was having a Marvin Jones like camp and then he just disappeared. I don't even think he was active. Do you think the Bengals should start going to a 34 defense or even a cover two instead of 43? I think that the 34 would be a mistake just because you have to have the personnel to go there. And then it's such a big change from the 4-3. I think that that would be a disaster. I mean, this defense has been a disaster already, but I just think that that's not something that you can do mid-season, if you understand what I mean there. One thing that I don't like is that they play a ton of zone already. Like I don't really like them playing zone. I haven't liked us playing zone since Gunther came on and started doing that. I think that you need to start actually playing man, and you actually need to use William Jackson the third as the talented corner that he is. I don't understand why they don't have him trail the best receiver on the field, but that's what it is. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I just wanted to kind of come here and do a recap, but I also wanted to open the floor for Bengals therapy just so we could kind of vent. Obviously, I'm still frustrated, but we have to move on to Tampa Bay. I touched on them earlier. This is not a gimme game that we will have. You're talking about Mike Evans coming in. You're talking about Deshaun Jackson coming in. OJ Howard. These are guys that can give us problems. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Who That News, I know you don't want me to leave, bro. I want to stay on. But I don't want the video to go too long. I know some people don't like it when I have super dumb long videos. But we gotta get this win, man. We gotta get this win against Tampa Bay. So hopefully we can do that. Um, let's see. I'll answer a couple questions before I get out of here. Do you think AJ is underrated? Yes, I think AJ Green is one of the best receivers in the league, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bengals fan. I knew about AJ Green before he even got drafted to the Bengals. That's who I wanted the Bengals to draft. I've been breaking down drafts for years, and AJ Green was the the first one of the best prospects I had ever seen that stick out in terms of special prospects since Calvin Johnson. So I wanted AJ Green off rip. I remember legit like I need to have my cousin and my brother on here one day because I remember when they looked at me crazy, crazy. Okay, when I said that AJ Green will be better than Chad Johnson, and this was right after we drafted him. I said he will be better than Chad Johnson. Now, mind you, Chad is one of my favorite players, but I knew from looking at his film the caliber of player that he was, and now I'm the one laughing at them, and I can bring that up no matter when it is. I'll always bring it up. Like, remember when I told you that AJ Green would be the best Bengals receiver in history? He is. He's amazing, man. He's amazing. He is amazing. Literally, when we drafted that guy, I jumped up off of my couch and was so excited for us to get this guy. And I mean, there, I understand why some people might say AB. I understand why some people might say Julio and all of that. I don't think that they're in. Is, Me personally, I don't think that they're the same type of receiver. AJ Green is a special receiver. And if he was in a situation with an elite quarterback, or if he was in a system where he received 200 targets a year, he'd be putting up the same numbers, if not even better. And if he played with another receiver, look at that. AB plays with Juju Smith Schuster. If Juju Smith Schuster played for AJ, that would mean that he would not get double teamed every single play, and he still makes plays. So we'll see. Do you think that we need better linebackers or defensive line? I think we need better both, man. But honestly, if you're talking about collectively, the linebackers are trash, bro. The linebackers are pretty trash. Outside of Burfict, I still like Burfict. I also think too, like I think with Burfict being out earlier this year, he wasn't able to really get a grasp of the defense. And generally, he's the guy with the IQ that can kind of make those audibles and change plays. And you kind of saw him get more of that responsibility last game, but it just is what it is. Andy Dalton, nah, I'm not hating on Dalton. I'm just saying Dalton is a good quarterback. Dalton is a very good quarterback. I'm just saying when you have a guy like, let's talk about NFL history real quick. When you have a guy like Marvin Harrison, right? Marvin Harrison played with Peyton Manning. You know, he played with Reggie Wayne and all of the. He played in an offense where he had a bunch of good players around him, elite players. So if you put AJ Green with an elite quarterback, I could only imagine what his numbers would be. I'm not saying that Dalton's not good. He's a good quarterback. I'm just saying that not even just Dalton. I feel like a lot of the players around him just aren't. I don't know. They're just not. I mean, Joe Mixon is probably the best running back we've ever had on this team with AJ. I mean, there's guys that have played with Le'Veon Bell, like AB's played with Le'Veon. He's played with so many good pieces around him. Yes, I am from Cincinnati, born and raised in Cincinnati. I'm originally from North Avondale, went to high school at Wyoming, moved out there later. For college, that's when I moved to Florida. So I've been a Bengals fan through and through. A funny story is they were actually on Bengals.com celebrating the fact that uh, Corey Dillon broke 278 rushing yards in a single game, that record in 2000. I was at that game, bro. That was one of the first. I found out years later that was the first win in PBS. So, yeah, huge Bengals fan. I've been there from the Kelly Smith, Gus Farrat days to now. So, yeah, originally from Cincinnati. Man, I don't. To be honest with you, Trace McSorley sounds like he's probably a draft or somebody in the draft. I have not done any research on the draft prospects yet. I usually do that, like I said, after the college season, and when they declare, then I'm like super well versed on them, and I come out with all kind of videos. So stay tuned for that time. Earl Thomas would have been nice. Another underrated position that we need to look at via trade or whatever it is, tight end. We're losing tight ends. We lost Eifert. We lost Mason Shrek. We lost Tyler Croft. They might need to consider going and trying to trade for a tight end, bro. Wouldn't mind that. So, last question before I get out of here. Do you think Andy Dalton could ever take the Bengals to the Super Bowl? I think he can. I straddle on both sides of the fence, right? I feel like I'm a Dalton realist. Like I like to give him credit when he's played good. I like to criticize him when he's played bad. I think that Andy Dalton can play good enough to get this team to a Super Bowl. I think that we could have gotten to the Super Bowl in 2015. So, yes, I think that Andy Dalton can get us to a Super Bowl. We just have to make sure that he's in the right position to help us get there. So that means making sure that Bill Lazor puts him in good situations with his play calls. That means that more than AJ Green, um, somebody other than AJ Green is going to have to make a play. So if we can do that, Andy Dalton can definitely take us to the Super Bowl. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I appreciate you guys for coming and rocking out with me. Let's make sure that we give Tampa Bay this L. You guys got to do it for me. I'm in Florida, so I'm hoping that they hold on to this L really bad. I got a lot of friends talking trash. Jameis Winston, in my opinion, isn't that great. I'll have a more of a breakdown on that coming this week. But as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday. You guys take it easy. God bless and have a good week.